Good morning, many blessings, and blessed birthday to all of you all around the world. It's such a great joy to celebrate our beloved Guru's birthday internationally in this way. My name is Jitendra, and sharing from Ananda Village here in Northern California. Before I continue any further, I wanted to make sure everyone is aware that currently, you have the control to choose a translation that best fits your language. So there's currently translations happening right now in Italian, Russian, and German. So now would be a good time to make sure you have that chosen correctly so you can understand what's being shared today. And it's such a joy to celebrate internationally in this way. And I think we all feel that increasingly in the future, we will all continue to integrate all of Ananda's work, centers and groups, individuals from all around the world, which are by the thousands. And we're hoping that we'll continue in this direction to make this even more dynamic so we can all interact in some way. I wanted to also take a moment to introduce our speakers today. So here from Ananda Village, but also in many ways, they're a part of the world. I would say their home is the world, which is 𝗬𝗎𝗓𝗍𝗍 Jyotish and Devi. 𝗬𝗎𝗓𝗍𝗍 Devi will be sharing today as Jyotish has a cough. He's doing okay, but just felt it was best to stay home and not cause it just becoming a coughing show for you all. So 𝗬𝗎𝗓𝗍𝗍 Devi, though, she'll be sharing today, as well as we will have 𝗬𝗎𝗓𝗍 Aditya sharing on behalf of Ananda India. And then from Ananda Assisi, we will have 𝗬𝗎𝗓𝗍 Kirtani and Anand sharing. So I wanted to just share that the theme for today's celebration is the chant that our Guru Paramahansa Yogananda gave to us: "I have made thee pole star of my life." And in so many ways, this is the fabric of our life. This is the essence of our focus, that the more that we immerse ourselves in the Guru's consciousness, the more that we will feel and we will find ourselves becoming closer to the goal, which is God. And just as this temple is illuminated with light, and the temple that you're in is illuminated with light, and wherever you are, there's light. And we know that the more concentrated that light becomes, the more powerful it becomes. And just the same for our lives. The more that we, as disciples of this great master, attune to that light and then concentrate with ever increasing devotion on that light, this light that illuminates this temple, as it becomes more concentrated, that power, as we know, becomes laser-like. It can burn through steel. So just the same for our life, as we concentrate more and more our devotion on our Guru's light, his consciousness, the more powerful his grace will remove any darkness, any past karma that's keeping us from God. And we celebrate this birthday today. Of course, his birthday was yesterday, January 5th, but it's in many ways very nice that we're keeping a trend, which many of us are aware that we celebrated 𝗬𝗎𝗓𝗍𝗍 Jyotish's birthday this summer, and then his birthday celebrations seemed to just continue on wherever they went, to Italy, to India. So it was about a month-long birthday celebration. So I thought this was quite appropriate to keep celebrating our Guru's birthday. So I wish you all many blessings, and it's such a joy to be together and celebrating our beloved Guru's presence. So what I'd like to do now is invite our choir from Ananda Village up to sing a song, and then we will have 𝗬𝗎𝗓𝗍𝗍 Devi give us a short talk.
Представляешь, он меня так тормозит. Компьютер. Я надеюсь, люди будут. Дышай на нижнем себя смотрим.
Long I've called you, my Lord, long I've called you. Many years I have longed for your sight. Bathe the darkness with tears of devotion. Offered candles in prayer to your light. How much longer, friend, must I cry your name? I am yours, ever yours. Will you come? Long I've called you, my Lord, long I've called you. Many years I have longed for your sight. Bathe the darkness with tears of devotion. Offered candles in prayer to your light. How much longer, friend, must I cry your name? I am yours, ever yours. Will you come?
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of you. And as Jitendra said, we're here in the Ananda Temple of Light at Ananda Village. And Jyotish sends his love and his apologies. He is watching online. He's not really sick, but he has a cough, and in the morning it's kind of worse. So he just felt, what would be the point of standing up here punctuating every word with a cough? So his wife gave him permission to stay home. So as Jitendra said, we have the blessing in our life of getting to meet so many of you, and our friends from Russia, our friends from Germany who are joining, and our friends from around the world. And that's really the point of our sharing this morning on Master's birthday. The theme, as we said, is I have made thee pole star of my life, from the beautiful chant that Master gave us. And it has two aspects that I want to touch on. The first is personally, to make God and Guru the center of our life, our point of reference, because life is so filled with, I don't think for any of us a day goes by where there isn't some setback or some computer glitch or some adverse circumstance that we hear about either in our own life or in a friend's life. And just to always use our discipleship as the guide that under all circumstances we refer to Master. This is from you. And when a decision needs to be made, show me how to make it. And, you know, we need to understand, there's a saying, if you reach up one hand to God, he reaches two hands down to you and pulls you up. So we do our little effort, but the little effort that we make opens the door for that grace to flow. And I know for Jyotish and me, in all the travels that we do in airports and everything, really, it's amazing how well it goes. So many things could go wrong and hardly anything ever does. And is that we're lucky? No, there's a bubble of grace. And if you serve him, then he'll say, I'll clear the way. So we need to just understand, and how do we do this? How do we keep that point of constant reference? We were listening to a talk that Swami gave, I believe it was 1991, and it was a New Year's talk. And he said, and his words stuck in my mind: resolve in the coming year to live more in God. And what does that mean, to live more in God? Yes, we have our sadhana, and we need to keep clear about that. And, New Year's resolutions, people set goals, but I think it's very good and helpful, and we certainly practice it in our lives, to say, this is what I will not let go. This is the bare minimum. I will do my energization every day. I will do yoga postures on a regular basis. I will never miss my Kriya, no matter morning or evening. If I'm tired, if I'm busy, if I'm on an airplane, you just, you make commitments. And by making a commitment, and I really have found this in my life, by sticking to it, boy, there's a grace that comes. I think I've shared this story before. This happened some years ago. I had made a commitment never to miss Kriya practice, morning or evening, and for 1 year, I had made that commitment. And in a certain way, it's good to make, instead of forever and ever, I will do it for this period of time, and then you do it the next year. But so like 9 months had gone by, and I was really right on the mark. And then the day came where another woman and I had to drive down to Palo Alto to give a program. And I thought we were going to spend the night. She said, oh no, I have to get back the next day for something. So we drove there, we drove back, we got home at 3 a.m. I just fell into bed and I was just exhausted. And then I was sleeping. And then I woke up and I thought, oh, well, I didn't wake up. Something woke me up. And I said, oh, I didn't do my Kriya. And I sat up and I did it. So I never missed it. But that wasn't, I knew it wasn't me who had done it. It was the pole star. It was, I had directed my energy in that way, and God kept me going. And you feel that the more you follow through with commitments, and whatever it might be, if it's not speaking critically of people, I had an incident where I was really going, no, you're not going to speak critically of people. And then I was in a situation where someone was going to come, and I knew they were going to start speaking critically of people. And I thought, oh God, please don't let me get drawn into this. And then the person called, oh, I can't make it. I thought, oh, great. God protected me from that situation. But the more we can just, we're all Master's disciples. He was a warrior. He was a spiritual warrior in many lifetimes in the past. He told us, William the Conqueror, Ferdinand, Ferdinand, the son of Alfonso. And he was a great Spanish general. And then, of course, Arjuna, the Battle of Kurukshetra, the great warrior. And then this life he comes, and we saw last night a beautiful slideshow that Bhaktan had put together, Master Spiritual Campaigns. He came, he stayed in a little YMCA room in New York or Boston, and then you saw how it unfolded bit by bit. So he was standing in front of thousands of people, and with that same humility, that same lack of any sense of self-importance. And to me, that's what I love the most about Ananda. You see other groups, and there's a little bit of spiritual importance, but boy, Master didn't have it, Swami didn't have it, and I hope we can continue in that way. sometimes when we're traveling, we're staying with different people in their homes. And we were staying with this wonderful Sikh family up in Chandigarh, very wonderful people. And Dhyana, Nayaswami Dhyana was there with us, and she knew them, we didn't. And at the end of our stay, they said to her, "But they're so normal." And I thought, oh, thank God, people can just see us as normal. Because as soon as you put on any self-identity, it separates you from God. And so if you can just keep him the pole star, make those commitments, follow through with them, he will help you see how to do it. And he will block adverse circumstances that might pull you away. And he will wake you up when you fall asleep and if you haven't meditated. And so that's the personal pole star. And the more, it's a beautiful image. At a Sunday service recently that 𝗬𝗢𝗕𝗓𝗕𝗓 gave, he talked about, it was before the all-day Christmas meditation, and he talked about Swami, it was the year that Swami had kind of, not a vision, but the presence of Divine Mother, and Divine Mother wanted to speak and had beautiful words of encouragement and direction for everyone there, and Swami shared them. And Jaya said, I've always been a bit of a skeptic, and so when that happened, he kind of thought, I'm not sure if this is really happening. And then a few minutes later, he saw the spiritual eye in a way he had never seen it before. And it was like saying, "O ye of little faith, these teachings are real. The words that Swami spoke are true and real." And he said it was a life-changing experience for him. So the image, the spiritual eye, the pole star, what a beautiful image that is. And just to, it's like the three wise men coming to visit the Holy Family in Bethlehem. The pole star was the spiritual eye. And so if we can realize that pole star, it's not outside of ourselves, it's inside of ourselves. And the more we interiorize our consciousness, the more that pole star guides us and keeps us out of trouble, keeps us from wrong attitudes, wrong behavior, laziness, all of those things. And so the guru-disciple relationship, it's really the greatest gift a soul can find. And we see it even with avatars. Master searched and searched until, seemingly, as we were saying last night, there's a deeper symbolism in all the stories in Autobiography of a Yogi. But the avatar searching for his guru, and how blessed he felt when he found him, and Lahiri meeting Babaji. It's just amazing that the materialization of a golden palace in the Himalayas. Here's Lahiri, seemingly unaware, although as a child he was meditating beneath the river Ganges, for long periods of time. Great, great avatar. But then he goes to the Himalayas, and there's that moment of non-recognition. And then he said, and Babaji says, "Don't you recognize me?" And then he touches him, and he falls at his feet. Oh, my guru. So many lifetimes you have guided me. Here I have kept your asana, your meditation seat, and your little bowl that you ate from. I have been following you throughout this incarnation. And we need to understand, each one of us who are Master's disciples, he has been calling us. We have been with him. And it's not by chance. Really meditate on that thought. Even if I feel like I'm the worst of the least disciplined of the devotees, the worst meditator, it is not by chance that you have come to Master's teachings. He brought you. And the moment will come for each one of us that, just like for Lahiri and Babaji, where we say, I remember now. I remember we've been together. I was your foot soldier in 𝗚𝗟𝗙𝗕𝗓. I was your servant as when you were William the Conqueror. I picked you up from the sand when you fell, when you landed on the beach of Normandy. And we will say, oh yes, now all those incarnations come into play and it will happen. I have shared this before, but once Swamiji, we were hosting another spiritual leader. I think it was Yogi Bhajan from 3HO. And we had a big Indian banquet. This was up at the meditation retreat. And I was serving them the meal. And so I was behind Swamiji serving them. And he said to Yogi Bhajan, but I knew it was for us. He said, look at the beautiful spirit in these young people. They must have been with Master for many lifetimes. And it was like, really, Swami? And I gave him his food. But remember that the pole star brought you here, and it's the pole star within. I remember when I was an infant, because I was still in a crib, but I would have this reoccurring, not really a dream, but an image, and it came time after time. And this is a child's mind, but it was a beautiful ice cream sundae with whipped cream and cherries and chocolate and ice cream. And I would reach out for it, not with my hands, but, in kind of an image. And then it would just melt. It would just dissolve in my hands. And that was some memory that all the wonderful things of this world, you reach out for it and they're nothing. They don't last. They don't have any substance. And so that's part one, individual pole star. But part two, and I wanted to share this. The other day, we were having a nice luncheon and talk with some friends, and we were just sharing how people in this greater area, Ananda is in a rural district of California, Nevada County, but when we first came, people were very hostile. They didn't know what we were we a cult? And we fought so hard to get our existence, to be allowed to stay, to get permission to build. And there was a public hearing where this was 1976, where it was after the fire, and luckily we got a little sympathy for that. But there was a huge public hearing and so many people spoke against us. And, they're going to use too much water and they're going to do this and they're going to do that. But we just persevered. And finally, it was like 2 a.m, the Board of Supervisors, we just kept presenting, well, we did this and we did that. We were approved, but it was a big battle. But then more than 50 years has gone by. And now we have people coming from all over the world. We have this beautiful tulip festival in April, and people come from really all over the West Coast. Last year, I think we had 18,000 people in a month coming. That's a lot of people. But the impact that Ananda has had, and this is what I wanted to share, the discussion that we were having, it was actually yesterday with some friends, and we were talking about the changes that have come. And one friend, it was actually Ramesha, who's sitting here, he said he was in town and he was wearing a t-shirt what was on it? A picture of Yogananda. And he was just going into a store, and there was a man with a wheelchair trying to get in. And Ramesha opened the door and helped him go in. And the man looked at him and said, "You do your guru honor." And then another person, Uma, actually told us, Uma, who lives here, she said she was in the local hardware store buying some things, hardware, whatever it was. And there was an older gentleman who worked there who was helping her. And he said, "Oh, are you building a house?" And she said, "Well, we're remodeling our house." And "Where do you live?" "Ananda." And he said, "Oh, Ananda." He said, I love that place. He said, I go there every year for the Tulip Festival. And especially, what's that building called? The little building where you could meditate? She said, the Moksha Mandir. He said, yeah. He said, I don't just go there for the Tulip Festival. Whenever I'm unhappy or worried, I go there. Man from the hardware store. And I just sit there and then I feel peace. And so, Pole Star, Ananda, I'm just speaking of the village, but I see it globally. The impact we are having on the world of upliftment. And because we are master soldiers and he came to uplift the world, and he is he and our line of gurus, they are the pole stars of this world right now. And there's a beautiful quote from the autobiography. It was in our little calendar today, where Master was talking about, autobiography was written in 1952, published in 1952, or 1946, excuse me. I always love having Lakshman here because he corrects me. He's our editor. Anyway, 1946, and Master was saying, in this 20th century, not yet half over, but died in the blood of men twice over already. And he said, let people awaken to the possibility of peace. And of course, how many wars have happened since 1946? But he said, as it says in the Bible, for if that God would have saved Sodom and Gomorrah if he could have found 10 good men or women, and he couldn't find them, and the cities were destroyed. So now we have a new world, not too much unlike Sodom and Gomorrah. But if there can be people who are filled with God's light, who are living for God and in God, and resolving to do better to find him, this can, not with any grandiose consciousness, but it can be the saving grace of the world, because the masters they have all power, but they need hands and feet. They need the person to plant the tulips so that people can come and feel his peace. They need the person to open the door so that the man can say, oh, your guru is doing that. And so we need to, whatever it is, even if we never leave our little abode, but we pray deeply night and day, that is a practice, that will save the world. And so, yes, God and Guru are our pole star, but they are the pole star for the world right now too. And so, as we go about our lives of dedication and striving for deeper attunement and meditation and service, let's remember we're not doing it merely for ourselves, but every step that we take forward on the spiritual path is a step forward, as the astronauts say, a step for all mankind. And this is the legacy our Guru has given us. So God bless you all.
So we'd like to welcome now Swami Aditya from Ananda, India, and representing India today. So let's welcome in our hearts Swami Aditya, and thank you, Swami Devi ji.
Thank you, Jitendra. And good morning, friends. Welcome, and to friends in the US, of course, in Italy, and many Guru Bhais. Some are sitting over here with me in this very room. And of course, everybody who's coming from Russia and other places. I want to first of all share greetings on Master's birthday, as Devi ji did. And I am in Ananda, Kolkata center right now. We had gathered for a weekend to celebrate Master's birthday. And you might say, as it happens when two or more, as Christ said, are gathered in my name, there in the midst of them am I. We felt those deep blessings. There was so much joy. We had a Kriya initiation this morning. And before actually I go in that detail, because we also want to talk a little bit about how to share Master's mission, I was thinking about how much has changed in just 100 years. It was 1920 when Master left from Kolkata to go to the West. And as he was about to leave, his father asked him one last time. He said, Mukunda, your brothers and sisters are here. We would very much want you to stay here. The Master said his father was not sure if they'll meet once again, and Master reassured him. He said, we will meet once more. But he said, please stay back. Please don't go. And Master said this to his father. He said, Father, the moment I step out of this room, the moment I embark on this ship to go to the West, he said the teachings of yoga, of Kriya Yoga, the teachings of 𝗬𝗢𝗟𝗘𝗕 will start encircling this planet. And here we are 100 years later. And in this room, this weekend of celebration, we had, I'll name a few people, 𝗤𝗛𝗙𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗡 Shankara, representing, you might say, our family from Anand, US. We had 𝗬𝗢𝗟𝗘𝗕 and Yogendra, who are on pilgrimage and decided to spend this beautiful weekend with us. They are here and they are residents of our Ananda Assisi Center. We had over 100 devotees from different centers of Ananda Sangha India. Chika, who was playing the music, and she's from Ananda Delhi, Brahmacharini Chika, but she comes from Japan. And you can see that prophecy just in 100 years come so clearly true. Just as Devi ji was sharing, people come from around the world to the Tulip Festival. Assisi could say the same thing, that wherever we open our hearts as instruments, that Master come, as Devi ji was saying, that he needs those instruments. I one time asked Swami Kriyananda ji this one line which he had written. There's no question about whether it's true or not, but I just wanted to understand his perspective. And the line was, I asked him, sir, is it true you've written that many of God's plans do not see the light of day because of the lack of willing instruments? And Swami right away said, oh yes, God has many wonderful plans for this world, but he always works through willing instruments. And come to think of it, God, of course, doesn't twist our arms. He doesn't coax us. He may suggest, he may whisper, he may encourage and inspire. And let's think of Master, friends. 131 years ago, he expressed that willingness. Mother, I will go down for my brothers and sisters. I will lead by example. And here we are enjoying, and the world at large beginning to enjoy these fruits. Swami Kriyananda ji also never failed to remind us that he said, I firmly believe that in the coming years and centuries, Master will be recognized as the Guru of this age of Dwapara. Now, Guru Bhai was very kindly driving me from where I was staying to the center over here just half an hour ago. And so we were catching up. We had met for the first time. And I saw a sign of a restaurant. It was a name I forget. It was a Bengali name. I asked him, what does it mean? And he said, oh, that comes from the 𝗬𝗢𝗙𝗕𝗔𝗟 family. It was a certain cuisine they introduced. It became popular. Today, all of Bengal is influenced by that. I said, oh, that's so interesting. I wouldn't have guessed one family could have such an impact on the food culture of an entire part of the country. And he said, oh, the Tagore family influenced many things. He said, music, art, even the way the ladies wear their sari, it's a typical style in Bengal. He said it all came from the Tagore family. And it made me think of Swami's words, that just give it a little time. We are so fortunate. On one level, we are so close to Master's life, Swami's life, that it is hard to comprehend. Everything starts small. But Swami would say, just give it enough time. It is already a worldwide movement. Master in his own life had created such an impact. And as he told one monk, he said, if Walter had come just a few years earlier, we would have reached millions. Well, Swami did reach millions through his music, through his books, through the translation. And if we just give it a little bit more time, I think a couple hundred years ago, we will look back, people will look back and say that was absolutely true what Swami Kriyananda ji was sharing. My friend also told me, the one who was dropping me here, a very interesting thing. And I had not told him the topic. I just said I have to do a class. And he said, one of the pieces of music that is really popular and inspired this part of the country was Rabindranath saying, I have made God the pole star of my life. And yes, it is Master's song, but it was also his song. He said that song was so popular that 𝗬𝗢𝗟𝗘𝗕 used to sing it for Ramakrishna. And Master, in his own way, Master derived inspiration directly from God, from many other saints, Guru Nanak, Tagore, Ramakrishna, Sri Ram Prasad. And this song for us, that I have made thee the pole star, a pole star is that star which is aligned by the axis to the axis of the planet. Everything changes around it. And whenever we are in confusion, as Deviji was saying, if we turn our gaze back, that what am I here for? Who am I following? Who am I serving? To what end am I? In what direction am I trying to go? I think the answer for us all through that chant is very simple. We have come from God. We're all seeking that joy. We are seeking that clarity. We are trying to serve as instruments of that consciousness. And God has sent us Master and our line of Gurus and Swamiji. And we are going in that direction through their grace. Master said, I want you to know, all of you who have come to me, I will never fail you. This weekend, I was saying there was a Kriya initiation actually this morning. And Yogendra told me that this very weekend, Anand and Assisi had a Kriya initiation. We had it for 80 people over here, 80. And he says that many people, more or less, are attending it in Assisi also. Next weekend, we have one with Dhyanaji in Pune. The following weekend, I heard Mumbai is doing a Kriya initiation. And again, those discussions this morning, they made me think how in a beautiful, sweet, decentralized, family-like atmosphere of a meditation group, a center, a community, a retreat in different languages, how just like waves of, you might say, nectar and bliss, these teachings are being received. People are coming to these places, these weekends and retreats, because they are being fed on a very, very deep level, on a soul level. In closing, I'll just share that, of course, I personally came because I found the book Autobiography of a Yogi at a time where I used to be a medical practitioner. I was training in New Delhi. And I had these questions. Why do so many illnesses happen to people? What is really the cure? I mean, what can I do as a doctor? Then I would read research, try to learn as much as I could. And finally, you're always faced with death. You see that every day in the hospital. And I said, what's really going on? And reading Master's autobiography was such a portal, as you can imagine. Where do we come from? How do we get a body? What is the mind? What is the feelings? How we need to channel them in order to regain God contact, regain that perfect ease in which we are established in God. And death, it used to really hurt me. We are all, pained by seeing death. And I always saw it as a separation. I said, what about this? And Sri 𝗬𝗢𝗟𝗓𝗓, Master, right here in Kolkata, Master had that experience where he was transported for a moment, his consciousness went to France, and this bullet was piercing his heart. On the other hand, he was here in 𝗚𝗟𝗙𝗕 Road meditating. Again, he went there, he lay dead on the beach. Again, he found himself alive. And when he asked Divine Mother, please tell me, am I dead? Am I dreaming? Or am I alive? And she said, neither, or both, you may say. But she said, don't be associated with this or that. You are made in my image. It may not seem as a pressing need for people right now to understand some of these teachings, which they basically put on the shelf as high teachings or impractical. But as we know, friends, what could be more practical? Swamiji said, being in tune with God, His joy, His consciousness, and the example before you and me is of Master. He said that is the most practical thing. You live well, you make friends, you make this world a better place. And when the time comes, you say, Mother, I am ready to come back to my true home. So in this coming year, friends, let's remember that line by Master, to be in tune with me, That is how we deepen our discipleship, one may say. To be in tune with me, Master said, serve my work. And I was telling myself, I said, more than thinking of serving the work, I want to adopt service as an attitude, whether it's my sadhana, whether it is my service to others, whether it is some travel. And when we bring that, Master, I'm doing it for you. Divine Mother, I'm doing it. Just like Master said, I'm just serving, doing what Divine Mother told me. It's very simple when we stay at the heart of that Master, no matter what I do, I'm here to serve you. So many greetings to all of you once again. And I also want to share, Jyotish I heard you're online. Today, we launched the Bengali version of the Lessons in Meditation book. Dhyanaji launched it, and people were so happy that these teachings are taking root in Bengali language. Thank you for your service to Master. Thank you, friends. Rudra, we cannot hear you.
The birth of his presence inwardly, his inner pole star. Because if we think about it, saying happy Master's birthday, which is something that we often say, has a much deeper meaning, because it's also the birth of his presence and his consciousness within us, and ever deepening awareness of each one of us, that he lives in us and through us. Volevo solo dire anche quanto era bello vedere le fotografie di tutte queste celebrazioni in tutto il mondo, no? In America, in India, di questa nascita della stella polare della nostra vita, no? La stella che ci guida, che è il nostro punto di riferimento, il nostro esempio, ma anche che è una celebrazione interiore, perché è questa stella polare che non è nata solo in un corpo fisico, 130 anni fa, ma è nata in ogni momento dentro di noi, quando ci apriamo a questa presenza, a questa consapevolezza che lui vive dentro di noi e attraverso di noi. Okay, so I'll just retranslate myself into English from Italian and English. So thank you again, 𝗬𝗢𝗓𝗓 Devi and 𝗬𝗢𝗓𝗓 Aditya, for this really profound inspiration you shared with us. And before we listen to 𝗬𝗢𝗓𝗓 Kirtani and Anand, we want to chant this chant. I've made the pole star of my life. And what has been really beautiful these days, apart from all the celebrations happening in all the world, was also to see through social media the photos of devotees celebrating in Kolkata with a procession, of devotees celebrating in the Temple of Light in America, devotees celebrating here, because we're celebrating the birth of our pole star, both in the sense of Master being our guiding light and Master being our example of how to live as a channel for God, as a child of God, as a disciple, but also celebrating the birth of that inner pole star. Because Master's birthday was not 131 years ago. It was yesterday, but it's also today. It's in this very moment. Whenever we are able to really open ourselves to his presence and become aware of his presence within us, that is Master's birthday. So we want to really live this year ever more deeply aware of the fact that he lives in us and through us. Okay, and let's chant together a bit. I have made thee pole star of my life. I have made thee pole star of my life. Though my sea is dark and my stars are gone, though my sea is dark and my stars are gone, still I see the path through thy mercy. Still I see the path through thy mercy. I have made thee pole star of my life. I have made thee pole star of my life. Though my sea is dark and my stars are gone, though my sea is dark and my stars are gone, still I see the path through thy mercy. Still I see the path through thy mercy. I have made thee pole star of my life. I have made thee pole star of my life. Though my sea is dark and my stars are gone, though my sea is dark and my stars are gone, still I see the path through thy mercy. Still I see the path through thy mercy. Stella, stella, che mi guida. Stella, stella, che mi guida. Quando il mare è tutto buio, quando il mare è tutto buio, ti terrò nel mio cuore, ti terrò nel mio cuore. I have made thee pole star of my life. I have made thee pole star of my life. Though my sea is dark and my stars are gone, though my sea is dark and my stars are gone, still I see the path through thy mercy. Still I see the path through thy mercy. Still I see the path through thy mercy. Still I see the path through thy mercy.
So, hello everyone.
Hallo an alle.
Здравствуйте всем.
So we're seeing
Wir
all
sehen
over the world, and it's very wonderful to be with everybody.
È meraviglioso essere con tutti voi.
I'd like to just start by saying that I see our spiritual family in a Okay, try that again. And many of you know in Assisi that my brother just passed. And so we're not home with our spiritual family in Assisi. We had to come to here to America. And but I just see these incredibly wonderful examples of service. You see the temple in America. You see all the guests there in Assisi, and in India. I don't see them, but I see their numbers on the screen, and so it's just a wonderful, wonderful spiritual family that we have. Because we're in the situation that we're in, and that we're not there, but we're here helping my family, my birth family, go through this process of the loss of my brother. I reflected on a certain thing that Master said also when we talk about 100 years, but he said, if you were to take all of the people that died just 100 years ago, he said, for example, let's say that in our case it would be 1923. Everybody that died in that year, and if you took all the bones, I know it sounds crude, but that's what he said. If you took all the bones of those people and you piled them all together, he said the number would be unimaginable. And he said, it shows you how many tens and hundreds of thousands of people come into this incarnation. We do our dance of life. We try to make something of ourselves. We have our families, or we plow our gardens, and every imaginable aspect of creation, of this earth life, we participate in some way and try to make a mark, or try to become famous, or even just simply do our small part to experience this particular incarnation as a human being. And when I read how Master spoke of that, it helped me to realize we really are here just for this, maybe at the maximum 80 some odd years. We come in and we go. Nobody remembers really where we come from. Nobody sees our future. And so it's like we're in this little dream, and that's exactly what Master said. And how many different times can we roll through this dream? We wake up, we sleep again. We wake up, we sleep again, or we dream again. And we dream and we dream all these different incarnations. And then finally, Master said, you reach that place of anguishing monotony. And that's usually when we turn back toward the spiritual path. So here with my family, I recognize that there is that feeling that my sea is dark. My stars are gone. My sea is dark. Where is the life? Where is the beauty or the light of life? We know where it is, and we're very fortunate. And as Devi and as Aditya said, we really need to make sure that pulse, that we are anchored to our pole star. And when Devi mentioned the Kriyas, that she would try to resolve not to miss those Kriyas. And many of you maybe have heard this story where we too were on a long trip, and we dropped Swami at his house, and it was also 3:00 in the morning. And as he was getting out of the car, he said, well, I need to go in and at least do 14 Kriyas just to keep my hat in the ring, he said, just to keep my promise, my commitment. And that's how we anchor ourselves to our pole star. And that's got to be our pole star. I just when I leave my spiritual family, a place like Assisi, and I'm in the world, like Davy said, when you travel or when you're in the airports, but also just in all the preparation at the mortuary or at the store, and you just see how very fortunate we are that we have a pole star to anchor, to navigate our lives. And it's the most wonderful thing. And if, even though our pole star is in some ways etheric because it's inside, and we go every day looking to concentrate and fix our attention on our pole star, but that pole star is also how we affirm every day. I don't know, I'm a member of the 70 plus group. So, and I don't know what the reason is, but as I've gotten older, I find I just sleep less. And so also during the night, to just wake up when the mind is calm, when the world is seemingly more calm, when my body's relaxed, that's such a wonderful time to go inside, focus the point between the eyebrows, and just say to the Lord, reveal thyself, reveal that light. We're so fortunate. Many of you have maybe heard, or some of you might have received a particular gift that Kirtani sent around. It was a video, a link really, of somebody who had recently a near-death experience. And it had a profound impact, not only on this particular person, but certainly on me also. And he said that God accepted him as he was, as he is, but he also said that he learned very specifically that it was never intended that we be perfect here. And I see so many people around the subject of death that there is guilt or there is fear because they think I didn't do a good enough job. And that we know isn't the yardstick of judgment, if you will, that God would use against us to measure our progress. But what he does measure our progress is that one particular simple phrase: how well did you love in this situation, in that situation? How well did you love? And that's where our pole star, if we're anchored to our pole star with devotion, with love, with a feeling of fellowship for everybody, that's really what I hope we can move into this new year, that Ananda can be the pole star also for a world that very definitely needs the consciousness to be raised. And we may think in our own little way, like Davy said, even if you're at home in your own little room, but that prayer, just that prayer that we uplift the world's consciousness by doing our own little part, just that beautiful little nice smile to somebody at the grocery store. I've just seen it, as Davy said, I've seen it over and over, that we as devotees here at Ananda, if we live the consciousness, if we're tied, our pole star is the presence of the masters to guide us, to help us navigate our lives toward truth and toward the light. If our pole star, if we're anchored and we navigate our lives through every day what we experience in going into our center, remember that God said, the kingdom of God is within you. And that particular practice of Kriya, or our meditation that we do every day, is the way we open that the door to that inner kingdom. It is within us, and that is our star, our anchor is, and that will see us through the dark seas, or when our stars are gone and our sea is dark. That is how we not only find our own way, but help the world raise their consciousness too. So a very, very happy New Year, Master's birthday to you all. And it just does my heart really good that we have this huge, wonderful, worldwide spiritual family. God bless you. God bless you all.
So I want to thank Devi and Aditya and Anand and all of you for being here in this moment to share together something that is so important, as Devi said, for us individually and for the situation of the world right now. As I was listening to each one of you, I just felt you speaking from my heart. And I thought that I would like to share with everyone listening. And I know in a way, many, many of those who are online and who are present at this gathering are those who have already chosen their pole star. But it's also important, I think, for us to speak to those who maybe haven't experienced that yet and how that can happen in their lives. So I wanted to share, and I hope I can be brief in this, how this happened in my life and those moments where the choice that was made to choose Yogananda as pole star were so vital, and how that can play itself out in every one of our lives. For me, it was a moment of trauma, emotional trauma in my life, when I knew that something needed to change in a big way. And so I took a year off from my teaching to explore what that might be, and ended up the night before I was leaving, visiting my best friend. And she, in that moment, had been reading something that was very important to her. And she read to me from a chapter of the book that she was reading. And when I heard those words, I felt something move inside of me. And I thought, I have to find this book. I have to read it. I didn't have time to get the book. I was leaving early the next morning on a flight to Europe. And when I asked her, what is that you're reading? She said, it's the chapter of experience in cosmic consciousness from a book called Autobiography of a Yogi. And for so many of us, that was like a first conscious glimmer of that guiding pole star in our lives. And I went to Europe. I ended up in Greece around Christmas time. Part of the message I wanted to give is that pole star is ever shining in our lives. The hand of the master, who is that pole star and guiding us, is ever there when we reach out and ask for that hand to guide us. And so there I was in Greece. I had asked people I knew, if you want to send something for Christmas, a book on meditation would be nice. This book called Autobiography of a Yogi. Book on meditation came. The autobiography was absolutely sent by Master, because I met someone. We had a lot in common. We talked a lot about what was happening in our lives. And he had the Autobiography of the Yogi. He was in Greece studying, and he had two books with him. One was the Bible and the other was the Autobiography of a Yogi. So on Christmas Eve, I received the gift of being able to read that book, and I read it straight through in the free time I could find in the next few days. And that was the absolute lighting of the pole star of my life. At that moment, I knew I didn't need to travel any farther. I didn't need to search any longer. This was what I had been looking for to help the change happen in my life. So I traveled through all of the countries you can't go through now, overland, from Greece through Iran, Afghanistan, Pakistan to India, to try to connect in India with Master as the pole star. And that trip to India simply confirmed the choice that I had made of following this particular star to guide my life. And when I got back to America, I was in a yoga class, seriously thinking about returning to India to do a school for devotees' children. And so there are those moments in your life where a decision needs to be made. And when you're in tune with the pole star, things just come. And so our yoga teacher said, you know, there's a community of devotees of Yogananda not so far from you. I was in the Bay Area in California, and he mentioned Ananda. And again, Master's hand was there. I wasn't convinced that that was what needed to happen. And being out in San Francisco one evening to go to a particularly big premiere of a movie, Master's hand came in to make it impossible to go to the movie because the movie ticket was like 10 times as much as a usual movie ticket. And I didn't have the money to get in. So I walked the streets of San Francisco, and on the street where a lot of bookstores, record stores were, there was a poster in a window, and I recognized Master, the picture of Master. And on that poster was another person that I didn't know, a direct disciple of Paramhansa Yogananda. And his name was Swami Kriyananda. And there was the opportunity to go to hear him speak. And I absolutely wanted to hear someone who was a direct disciple of Yogananda. And from that point, hearing Swamiji speak was again like Master lighting up my heart, my consciousness, my life through Swamiji. And I went to visit the community. From that point, I knew I at least had to try what it was like to live in this Ananda community of devotees of Master, guided by his pole star through Swami Kriyananda. And after 2 weeks of being in the summer program at the village, I knew that this was my life, that this was where I wanted to be, that this was where I wanted to be open to serving Yogananda. And that's the main point that I want to make. It could be you reading something of Master's teaching to someone that you know who doesn't know about Master. It could be you sharing the autobiography or one of Master's books, one of Swami's books, with someone you know who is going through a change in their life. I remember when I was first coming into the teachings through SRF, and I went to one of the SRF services in Berkeley, and there was a man there who I was talking with, and he said, I've bought my 17th copy of the autobiography of a yogi because I'm always finding people that I want to give it to. And so 16 times he had given away his copy of the autobiography to someone whose life would be changed by it. And we can be that channel for Master's pole star in so many ways. And Devi mentioned it, Aditya did, Anand has, because that is what our part is. Of course, as Devi said, the first part is tuning in ourselves personally to that shining pole star. But in so many ways, at moments in our life and moments in the life of others that we are in touch with, in contact with, we can be, you can be the channel for Master's light of his pole star that is guiding. Because for each of us, and for, as Anand mentioned and the others, the world is so in need of this guiding light. And more, we will have opportunities truly individually in your own home and with groups of people you work with, people online, groups that you are in touch with. You will have the opportunity to share what is Master's guiding light. And he is always present with that light, with his hand that is ready to take ours, to take the hand of those that are so in need, and to walk the steps that are necessary to, yes, to guide us outwardly to the places and people we need to know, but more than anything, to guide us each within our own selves, that pole star is there to take us inwardly to our self-realization. And this is Master's promise, that those who think him near, he will be near, that everyone who comes to him will find the help that they need, that each one of us going deep within to attune ourselves to that light will be a part of that promise to bring this world into a new age of peace and harmony, of light, and overcoming the darkness that we all can see and feel. So I invite you truly to make the choice and to choose not only for yourself this guiding light of Master's pole star, but carrying that light to others in this world.
Many blessings to you all. Happy New Year. Happy Master's birthday. Thank you all.
Okay, so thank you, Kirtani and Anand, and thank you, everyone. And we want to end this moment together, not only feeling the blessings of Master and this pole star, but really sending it out into the whole world, thinking of all of those who maybe are ready right now to be touched and awakened by that light, and all of those who will be ready in these times to come. Allora vogliamo concludere questa serata non solo sentendo questa luce interiore e queste benedizioni, ma proprio emanandoli nel mondo, così che tutti che sono pronti in questo momento per essere toccati da questa luce, da questa stella polare, e tutti coloro che saranno pronti in questi tempi da venire possono essere elevati verso la luce. Alzatevi in piedi, we can also stand. And let's just send 3 ohms of that light, the pole star, that may touch, uplift the whole world. thank you everyone again, and happy Master's birthday. Buon compleanno del Maestro.
So they're going to pan to show their temple. So everyone, look at the camera. Happy Master's birthday!
Jai Guru!
Shri Shri Paramahansa Yogananda Ji ki!